Okay, so now I hope to move a little bit faster through the slides. That one slide was very loaded because it listed all of the curriculum models on one slide. But now we're going to move through a little bit quicker. So we're looking at creative effective curriculum, which is on page 72 in your textbook, which is basically how do we create curriculum that is effective, okay, for children, the children that we are working with, the children that we observed. So what's important for effective curriculum is remembering that children's thinking is revealed through their play. That's why we talked about play first. The children's thinking informs your curriculum planning. So we must observe. That's why we talked about play. Then we talked about observing. We must observe, document what we observe, reflect on those observations in order to plan, which is what we're now talking about. And whatever we plan must support children's thinking and learning. And remember, children are thinking and learning when they play. So it's that complete circle. So curriculum for young children is most effective when it is dynamic, it is co-constructed, and it's responsive. Okay, so what does that mean? The dynamic process means that we're looking at the children's ideas and interests. It's dynamic because it's not consistent. It's not the same every single month or every year. We're not doing the same exact thing. It's constantly changing because it emerges throughout the year and it changes to meet the needs of the child. So if the child's thinking changed, their type of play changed, their interests changed, then therefore the curriculum changes as well. Effective curriculum is also co-constructed, so we're getting input from families. We're working with other teachers in that same environment to come up with ideas and to share our observations. And you're also getting input from children, get their ideas and what they want to learn or explore more, or just listen to them when they're talking and listen to the conversations they're having. And you can learn a lot about what they might be interested in learning. Responsive approach is curriculum must be responsive to the children's interests. So it's almost like we're being 100% redundant in everything that we're saying here. But the curriculum should be responding to the children's interests, to who they are, their families are, and also their community. So when we're paying attention to who they are, what they're interested in, what's happening in the community. For children, unfortunately, that are in environments where the fires are going on, that's conversation to have. For children who maybe can connect with issues that we are facing with the Black Lives Matter movement, that's conversations to have. So even children, just explaining why we're wearing masks, so responding to children. A lot of times we brush children off. We ignore the questions that they have. We make it seem like they're not, old enough or, cognitively developed enough to understand. But if they're posing it as a question or having conversations about it, then it's up to us to find a developmentally appropriate way to explain to them what's going on and to respond to their questions. So the most important thing to remember with responsive approach is not just about having a developmental skill or behavioral objective on the lesson plan. And I know this might sound contradictory to the lesson plans that we teach you, but that's why you're now learning that there's so many different ways to approach how you create your curriculum. That's why I've said it more than once. You may not revisit these lesson plans again. These lesson plans are meant to help us be able to assess your understanding of creating curriculum, but just from one approach. There are many different approaches out there. What's consistent, no matter what, with a developmentally appropriate curriculum is that it is going to focus on the child's interests, and it's going to focus on the child's age, stage, and culturally levels of development. When it steps outside of those realms, then it may not be the best curriculum for young children. When it stays inside of those realms, meaning developmentally appropriate, culturally relevant, then more than likely it's connected to theory and it's appropriate for our children. So the next step is taking this information and writing actual curriculum. How do we do that? So the first thing to know is that there's different contexts for writing curriculum. You can have individual plans, which is like creating those one-on-one opportunities with children or responding to a need that one child has, and you're creating curriculum to work with that one child, so that it's a reciprocal teaching and learning process with you and that one child. You're teaching them something, you're learning more about them, they're learning something, teaching you more about them. There's also group plans, which could be written for on a daily basis or a weekly basis. So you have daily plans, you have weekly plans, and these are plans that are written for the whole group. But what you may have learned already in CD7 were small group plans. And that's where it's teacher guided, is usually with 4 to 8 children. If you took your curriculum classes with Southwest, you should have been focused on no more than 5 children in your small group. And then the whole group would just be the entire class of children that you have at one time. So normally whole group looks like circle time or large group time experiences. So your textbook has some vignettes to help you see and make connections with what these different types of lesson plan context look like. So I want you to read through the rest of your chapter, read through those vignettes, and then I also want you to ponder on this pause and reflect question, which will be for your discussion number 3. And you're going to complete that in Canvas, of course. And when you come back to this PowerPoint, we're going to be looking at what you're going to be doing to write your lesson plans, and then we will move into the weekly lesson plan.